Welcome to Go Home Heat, a sports entertainment podcast. I have Jushin Thunderbrain. We'll go with Justin.
Let's go with it.
Okay. And me, KP, talking about the week that was in the WWE. And I will warn you about we're going to talk about Raw, and you probably already watch it if you listen to this or you missed it and you get a little update. After this week's performance on Raw, a show that I have defended to some degree over the last few months, it is rumored that the USA Network noticed an all-time low in views, 1,500,000.
Wow.
Which is still almost 600,000 more people than they're getting on Wednesday nights on both shows.
Mm-hmm.
But USA is not liking the dip in the trend, and I agree with them. I wouldn't like the trend either. And they want more adult content, which I believe refers to bra and panty matches.
Yes. Or mud matches, or...
Yes. No, actually it doesn't.
No, I hope not.
That would be Attitude Era. I'm guessing they're wanting the ruthless aggression style era.
Mm-hmm.
Grab the brass ring, Vince once famously said.
Yes. Ruthless aggression.
He needs to find himself a scene is what he needs to do.
He's so invested in not having people be bigger than his company anymore. His fear limits people.
I do believe you're onto something. He doesn't want a scene anymore.
No.
He really doesn't.
He don't want to rock. He doesn't want people that can walk away from him and not have to work for him.
It's the difference between, like, the NBA markets players, the NFL markets teams. The UFC markets the UFC. Boxing markets the individual. And you wind up with a scenario in those sports where boxing, if you're the best, you can make way more than a more famous guy fighting in the UFC. Because it's a different, like, financial breakdown.
Yeah.
But in this thing, with the network, remember now, when he goes to a WWE network, CM Punk is like, I'm out. Everybody always thinks, well, Punk made this great decision based on all a part of it might have been that he knew they weren't going to have the same payouts. When you're not headlining the pay-per-view anymore. You know, now it's a scale. If you headline, you only make this much. It's not a percentage of buys.
Oh, okay.
So it was a huge pay cut when they went to the network. And if you notice, none of those people that were big back then, top of the line guys, are still there. It's like Hunter. Work it. You know what I mean? Because it's just the money's different now.
Yeah.
The pay-per-view values are different. The way you get paid is different, you know? And so you'll have to negotiate that money up front because you're not going to get it in bonuses. It's a steady thing across the board, what you get on a pay-per-view. Anyway, business models. That's what we're talking about.
But that stuff's important when you look at the way that the product gets presented and the way that they treat their talent, that they don't want big stars that are, and that influences how they book matches, that influences how they book, you know, everything, and then we end up having to, and you know, it's that plus the petty way that they punish people with television stuff, and I have to watch it, plus
and also we talked about earlier, we believe that Vince has always, other than that Attitude Era, he has tried to grow his business through multiple segments that involve something a child would like.
Yes.
And I don't disagree with that. You know, my kid's first wrestling thing he ever got, besides John Cena stuff, was a Stardust mask, which is really funny now looking at what that did. But, dude, Stardust was a fantastic character for kids to like. I went and saw a show where Stardust and Goldust were the main event, and Cody jumped on the railing and started hissing at the crowd, and the kids went nuts. It was crazy how overall that was. Totally get why he probably burned that outfit. I don't know if it was flammable. But
yeah, acid, something.
Yeah.
But here's my point on that though too. You point out it was over with the kids. He was getting what he wanted, yet he still buried it when it started getting big. Right. It's the same thing with, you know, you can see the active cutting of legs out when things get...
And at the very least, there is a bit of 50-50 always.
Yeah.
Nobody gets the full. We'll see, though, because he has a megastar right now on the other show.
Mm-hmm.
And that megastar went from, I've been pushing him as the top line guy to now he's a heel, and he's a little bit more than that, because now he's not just over with the kids and the women.
Yeah.
And a couple of the guys. Now Roman's over with everybody.
Yeah. And that plot line there is what they mean with adult content.
Exactly. And you could see where a USA executive would watch SmackDown and I think too watch NXT, even though there's less people watching it. People are conditioned to watch wrestling on Mondays.
Yes.
If you're getting more than 500,000 people more watching, I said that weirdly, but watching on Friday than Monday, even though it's national TV, I've literally, since Raw started, sit down and watch Raw.
Probably since 1993, 94, whenever it started, I've probably more Mondays than not spent watching wrestling on Monday night.
I probably always will, but I get why people are like, well, flip the channel.
Yeah.
And nowadays there's so many more things to do.
I can stream, I can play video games, I can do a lot of stuff.
Right. I get it. Okay, back to what we were supposed to be talking about, which is Monday Night Raw. Night before TLC, we have a Miz under a ladder giving the Miz before Christmas thingy. AJ's in one corner under a spotlight. John is dressed as Braveheart. We have a slow motion rendition of a match, including AJ stabbing Morrison multiple times with a sword, which is not true. He didn't really stab him. Really? That would have been the adult content we're looking for.
That would have been more awesome.
AJ climbs to the top. Miz goes with an alternate ending, and AJ is frustrated. Sheamus comes out. He gets hit with a tree. AJ gets hit with a present. And then we get AJ versus Sheamus. Anything to add to that on the first segment?
It was... I get this is a Christmas show.
Mm-hmm.
It was what it was. I mean, it was childish. It was silly. It was the guys in it. I could tell really were working really hard to make it work.
Yeah.
I am not faulting AJ Styles, The Miz, John Morrison, or even Almost. Mm-hmm. I'm not faulting any of these people.
Right.
But that was just...
Right. Hey, I want you to go out there and do a... Come on, man. And the people you've named are all from the school of, I have to be all in or it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And they tried.
They tried their best, man. Again, I'm not putting any of the stuff I'm talking about at the feet of talent.
Dude, and to your point, this match we get with AJ and Sheamus is
great.
Fantastic.
The match was great.
Sheamus has become really top tier. I guess he always was, and I just forgot because he was in tag matches, but he was in a great tag team.
Mm-hmm.
AJ's the best. And he sets up AJ for a power bomb through a table, almost saves. Sheamus dominates most of the match, but he gets a knee injury. AJ uses the injury. AJ did the Ric Flair chop block multiple times in this match, and you don't see that as much, and it's so great when you're working a body part.
Yeah,
and it looks god awful, but your leg bends that way anyway.
As long as you're going that way, you're fine.
It's
when you do it from the front side that it's actually a chop block. It's funny, but yeah, we always think Ric Flair. Oh, it looks like no, your knee bends that way.
Well, Rick figured out.
Yeah,
this is exactly what we just said. It looks great, and it doesn't hurt the guy,
which is perfect.
And it works. Yeah, and in the calf crusher being your finisher,
fits perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Screwy roll through calf crusher. Sheamus winds up getting free, gets to the top rope. The damaged knee kind of gives way when the flashlight noise tries to do. AJ winds up slipping out. Roll up. He gets the win.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
Oh, yeah, it was a good little match. We all knew the ending. Because we know the WD, we know their formula before the pay-per-view. The challenger faces the friend of the champion. If I know that's, I know who's going to win that match.
Yeah. Now, Sheamus grabs for AJ's hair and almost saves him, and Sheamus somehow manages. The way he got his legs caught up in the ropes,
that was amazing, wasn't it?
In a Tree of Woe style, but from the top and
Yes.
second rope, and then took that beating with the chair
Yes.
over the front side. That was great.
It was.
So it was, like I said, that was great.
Let me point out here, though, I don't want to hear anybody talking to Sheamus about Drew McIntyre getting stabbed in the back. 'Cause did you see Drew McIntyre?
No, they were cheating on Sheamus the whole time, and then he's laying there defenseless, getting hit with a chair, and the world champ, his best friend, his drinking buddy, is nowhere to be found.
No.
Man, what an evil dude. You know, I'm glad you pointed out that.
Well,
I don't like Drew McIntyre either. I'm glad you brought it up.
See, that's my point. They don't. Whoever writes this stuff, I mean, you need a 5-year-old to sit here. It's like, you need a 5-year-old to sit here and listen to your plot line when you say it out loud and point out the obvious plot holes. Well, why are you booking Drew? I mean, I'm not saying that was. I'm just saying that doesn't make any sense.
Or have the champ show up late.
Yeah.
So I know he wasn't there.
If you
just have him get out of his car 30 minutes later
shot.
and tell him what happened so he can be mad. So I've got a reason for him to.
Yes.
Did he even acknowledge this beatdown during the show?
I never heard him talk about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
He should be furious.
Yes.
Heading into a TLC ladder match with AJ, he's got a reason to hate his guts
He's just
back.
being the best friend.
And all oh my God.
Yeah.
And again, that's not Drew's fault either.
No.
That's somebody just mentioned it to him, and he would do it. I mean, the fact that you would think Drew's been in the business long enough to say, shouldn't I mention this in the promo?
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't run out there.
Yeah.
Should I mention this in the promo?
Shouldn't there be some acknowledgement that this happened?
To my friend?
That
supposedly I got in a fight with last week.
That we're trying to
chummed up with and went and drank beers with.
Yeah, and that we're trying to establish, as having
Sheamus is supposed to stab me in the back later.
Yeah.
How great would it be if I was emotionally invested in this relationship between Sheamus and Drew?
Not that everybody's going to be like, well, I can see why Sheamus did it because you left it hanging out to dry multiple times.
This is his butt whooped on TV every week.
And you ain't ever made the save.
And he has.
He's made the
Sheamus has come out there and helped you. Yeah, right.
It don't make no sense.
Yeah, unless they're planning on turning Drew heel, which they're not going to do.
Which they're not going to do. It's just inconsistent plotting.
Right. The Hurt Business, again, is bullying people backstage. That poor kid was eating a bro nut with his bro hat on. Got milk poured all over him. You know what, though? Bobby poured milk all over himself doing that, so
I did.
Shame on him. I'm glad that happened.
I'm glad.
I hope it ruined. I hope he mildewed his doggone suit treating that poor kid like that. Felt bad for that kid. MVP versus Riddle.
Wait. No, that was later.
The interviewer is going to ask a question, and he asks about MVP versus Riddle, and he says he's focused. MVP says he cannot stay. MVP says... The guy says Riddle's focused, and MVP says that guy can't focus two coherent sentences together.
Yeah.
So don't tell me he's focused on what's going to happen tonight. This should be about the Hurt Business versus... The whole interview should be about the Hurt Business versus the New Day. The New Day Hart with Hardy versus the Hurt Business.
And one thing we should probably pay attention to as we go throughout this episode is... that match with Riddle and MVP that comes later ends up being a real short match, supposedly because multiple segments ran long all night. Like they couldn't get things correct as far as the timing and everything.
Right. As we get into this match, we have Benjamin Lashley Alexander versus Hardy Woods Kingston. Every time Hardy Woods and Kingston get things going in their direction, Lashley comes in and totally changes it. And words do not explain the physicality Lashley is showing as a wrestler.
Oh, dude, he's top notch.
He just snatched Kofi over the rope
like it was a small child.
Yeah,
that's a grown man.
Yeah, he is crazy, and he was the best part of this. Although everybody in this match can go, when you tag in Jeff Hardy for a hot tag, I mean, obviously that's something he's been great at for 20 years.
Cedric Alexander keeps getting... You give him an opportunity, and he's going to show off.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
Don't show out on you.
Yeah, and it's the way this thing goes down eventually. Cedric winds up pushing Hardy as Hardy is going to the top rope to try to do his move, and he winds up sitting on the turnbuckle. That turns into a full Lashley. And that's your win. Again, I probably glossed through what was a very, very good performance by 6 different people. And then, of course, Cedric just begins to totally act a fool. And I start to wonder at what point are they going to have had enough of this?
But that's almost the easy answer. But Cedric keeps winning. Is it going to be we're going to turn on him because he's good? Or is it going to be,
I don't need these guys anymore?
Or is it going to be Shelton is the weak link, and Shelton's going to be like, man, this dude's, and then the other two, when you think they're going to turn on Cedric, turn on Shelton.
And Cedric is the kind of performer, if they want to, they could make him a single star, especially with a Lashley watching his back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You could do the kind of thing where, if nothing else, if you could put the belt on Lashley and Cedric, and have part of your show be these guys running the company, and you could have MVP and Shelton fighting New Day, and have each member helping the other one continue their dominance, and that would be cool to me. But what do I know? Lana is backstage. I will mention though, 2 matches were great so far. Now, Lana's backstage, and she is she feels like, hey, with you, I feel like we could actually be champs, but I'm scared to death. And Asuka's like, it is scary, but you're still going to go out there, and that makes you a very brave person. That is the pep talk we all need.
Yes.
Go take your whooping.
Come get your whooping.
Yeah. Let's get into this match. We have Lana versus Nia Jax. It goes kind of like it should till it doesn't. Instead of a power bomb, we get a reversal, some form of a Conrada. Nia hits the turnbuckle. Then as Nia goes to the top rope, to the second rope to do the pummeling, Lana winds up figuring out a way to hook it up and knock Nia off the rope, and then winds up in a pinning predicament.
Like a stack up.
Yeah, it worked good.
It was well done. I'm going to say this, for what that little bit it was that they did, they scripted a pretty good little thing there.
Absolutely. Lana could do everything they asked her to do. Nia sold what she needed to sell correctly.
The pinning predicament was such a one that used Nia's own body against her.
Right, there was no way she could kick out.
Yeah.
Because her own weight was keeping her from being able to do that.
Yeah.
Her size.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I wrote in my notes, put the world title on Lana, you cowards.
Yeah.
And little did I know what the next 4 minutes were going to bring. Because Shayna Baszler comes out.
Well, it takes out Asuka first.
Yeah. And then they both take out Lana in what is a brutal beatdown. And she took Lana was sitting like a hamstring stretch position, almost a split, but her legs were a little bit in front. Her whole body's flat between her own legs. Shayna takes one leg and pulls it all the way around to behind her. And she winds up on the shelf after this, and I don't think she's really hurt.
No, she's.
And all I can say is, mere mortals don't
bend that way.
Bend like that, because her hip did not, her body didn't move.
No, that's impressive. It is. It's really impressive. Like, her flexibility is great. This was dumb.
Well,
this not
why?
Everything that they did was not dumb. Everything they did was the way they did it was perfect. The plot line was dumb. I just sat through months. An
entire Survivor Series match was based around Lana
paying this off. You spent 9 weeks putting her through tables. You did all this stuff for the week before the payoff pay-per-view to put her on the shelf so you could probably bring back Charlotte. It's just dumb. It doesn't make any sense.
It would have been better to have her walk out there and get pinned in 5 seconds. You thought she was going to go over. It's wrestling. That ain't how it works.
Yeah.
She would never beat those two people in the match. Fine. But don't let her not be in this big match.
After you made me sit through this.
Right.
You tried to force me to be invested in her. And if I did what you wanted me to do, and I actually invested my emotional energy in this
along with my time.
In this plot line that you've given me, you've just screwed me over at the end of it. If I actually cared about this, I would be really pissed.
If what you wanted to happen happened, then you slapped me in the face for paying attention to your product.
Mm-hmm. You punished me.
Slapped me in the face.
You punished me for it.
Right. You know last time, a great example of that, remember the Avengers had 20 hours worth of movies and told you there was going to be one last movie? Mm-hmm. Okay, I go. Of course, I'm a comic book freak since I was a kid. Love superheroes. I'm watching this. This is a huge battle scene. I'm watching, and superheroes start disappearing, and I start squirming in my chair. And somebody said, or whoever was beside me said, "What's wrong?" I said, "This is all bullshit." Mm-hmm. What do you mean? Well, I mean, this ain't the last movie. Spider-Man don't die. Mm-hmm. He's got Homecoming coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like all these people start disappearing. You literally told me that the 20 hours I gave you was enough. You were going to give me a conclusion. Mm-hmm. And now you're telling me, well, these 3 hours that I'm sitting in here to watch this version is only a lead up to the next 2 hours to wrap it up. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Don't do that to me.
Don't bait and switch me.
You didn't have to tell me it was the last movie.
No, you could have I was fine.
I was coming anyway. Everybody else in the world was coming anyway.
Yeah.
You know, but that's my point, though. Don't give me all of this for the main event and then take my main event away, which is what you just did. I can't believe I'm angry like this about Lana being a wrestler.
And it's not.
But it worked. Everything you did worked. I care.
It's not even I'm angry about Lana being a wrestler. I'm angry about, again, this being a lack of ability to tell stories correctly and tell it in a way that pays off the people that are actually investing in your product, with some consistency. Right. And I've been taking up for this storyline for weeks. Yeah.
And now I look like a fool.
Well, yeah, it's the same thing that happened with the wedding storyline.
I do think, though, that I wrote in my notes that she may be kin to Reed Richards.
Yes, that's a good reference.
Yeah. Elias segment. Riker's back. This is strange.
Yeah. He
dedicated his performance to Lana, which was kind. Mm-hmm. R-Truth accidentally apologizes of interrupting, and then we get a run-through of some kind. Mm-hmm. What was this?
It was the 24/7 people chasing R-Truth and Jackson Ryder smacking some of them around.
Riker beat up the entire 24/7 roster at one time to prove he's tough.
Yeah.
I've been watching your show. I've seen him be a tough guy on NXT. I've seen him be a tough guy on Raw. I've seen him be a tough guy in TNA. Mm-hmm.
But Kevin, you might have forgotten.
So we got to
bury all these people.
Well, they're already buried.
Yeah. Did you see what Ivar or Eric, one of the Viking Raiders?
What'd he do?
He was out there in the 24/7 run around. How bad's your day going, buddy? How bad's your day going?
Those guys were the most intimidating thing in pro wrestling.
And when they were over in New Japan and they were War Machine.
Well, even in NXT.
Yeah.
They were having bangers.
Yeah.
Bludgeoning people.
Monsters.
They've been bowling this year. Mm-hmm. One guy eats turkey a lot. They've been to...
Ladies love one of them.
Yeah. Keith Lee approaches...
Speaking of massive disappointments.
Approaches Miz and Morrison. Heads you win, tails you win. Both call heads. Anyway, it winds up being a 2-on-1 handicap match.
I don't know what this meant. I have no idea what this whole segment was about. Mm-hmm. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know. But Lee versus Miz and Morrison, and I will say this: hell of a performance by Lee. He fought those guys. He never got to stop
Mm-hmm.
They constantly worked on him. It was the right result. The tag team won.
It was the right result. It never should have been a match.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this to Keith Lee?
Mm-hmm. Why are you doing this to John Morrison?
Why are you doing this to John Morrison? Do you know what you heard what the original booking for this was, and they changed it? The original booking was for him to be a straight match against Miz, and to lose that.
And so somebody said he can't lose to Miz.
Yeah, somebody finally got through to Vince enough to say, we can't have him lose to Miz. We got to at least make this a handicap match. You know, oh golly, remember when Keith Lee was the big thing?
Well, I thought it was interesting that they said he was going back to NXT, and I was almost happy about it.
And now I find out that they're just doing like training classes and stuff.
But I do understand doing training classes if Vince wants him to change some of the ways he goes about wrestling. I don't mind that. I think that's great.
I mind it because Vince wants every one of his big men to wrestle exactly the same way. He wants them to all wrestle the same way, which means I only have one wrestler. If every one of these big guys wrestles the same big guy match, I don't have 5 guys. I have one guy.
I understand. I hope that somebody is smart enough to say movesets are movesets. And there are certain things we need to keep consistent, certain things we don't. But my reasoning, besides me not minding it, is that a lot of these things would normally be worked out in house shows.
Yes.
And they don't have house shows.
No, they don't.
Right. So I get that part of it, right? He, instead of doing 3 house shows this weekend, he does 2 days at the Performance Center.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't. To me, this match could have been the exact same, and it was like I said, hell of a performance.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope when he went backstage, Vince was like, "That's what I'm talking about." Because if he'll do that, I can be entertained, and hopefully Vince is happy and we can move on.
Mm-hmm.
But we could have done the same thing with just John Morrison,
Mm-hmm.
and it would have been so much more like, if you do pull the trigger on Miz, how am I supposed to be okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
He's lost to Drew 2-on-1. He never wins. And then when he does win this, him and his best friend go to the limit fighting somebody. And by the way, his best friend's the best wrestler maybe in the whole world.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I can't beat one guy.
Mm-mm.
Although that guy's a monster.
Yeah.
Again, and it was, and I'm not,
and again, I
can't complain about what they did once they rung the bell.
No, I can't complain about any of that, and I still think it's the right ending because the tag team should beat one guy.
Especially when they're former tag team champs.
Yep, that should happen. But you never should have put Keith Lee in that position.
Or them.
And because nobody looks good. Nobody looks good on that. You know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's crazy. Bray Wyatt, field trip time. Thank you, God.
Thank you, yes.
But because, like I said, we had really good wrestling, and even this was really good wrestling, and a lot of things was good wrestling. It's just the weirdness of the surroundings of it, and you deciding for me that I shouldn't be invested in what you're selling me.
Mm-hmm. You punishing me
for caring.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
Haha, you cared.
And also, it's the thing that, for me personally, it's the thing that I've been pushing against the IWC, right? The Internet Wrestling Community. I've been pushing. I'm like, hey, it's just wrestling.
Yeah,
it's no big deal.
Yeah,
don't get wrapped up in you can't get wrapped up in the. Like I always say, somebody's, oh my God, I couldn't stand that match because of the ending. Nah, come on, man. The ending's the one thing they don't really have control over.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it, they get to control.
When I say that, I'm never talking about the talent.
Of course.
I'm always talking about the booking.
Right. I get it. But it doesn't. But you also would not take something that you considered a 5-star match until the roll up, and then say, well, it's a 2 now.
No, I may say it's a 4 because
correct.
I may deduct a star from the ending.
That's a big difference then.
But I'm not going to destroy a match that these two people just went through.
It's usually great, and then okay, that's what. Okay.
Yeah, like you said, that's the one thing they don't control.
Absolutely not. Funhouse Puppets are in the Thunderdome. Bray winds up apologizing because things got out of hand last week, and then you wind up with the things get strange and twisted. The Fiend has a mind of his own. All of that. It'll only be pain and sadness at TLC. But now it's joke time for Viper. The best way to measure a Viper? Inches. They don't have feet.
Uh-huh.
How do you clean? How does I don't know who it was, but you clean windshields with windshield Vipers.
Windshield Vipers, yes.
Yes. At this point, Randy's had enough. He winds up challenging Bray to a game of hide and seek, and Bray, of course, accepts
because it's fun.
Yes, and I loved this segment. I'm not selling how much I love this segment. Everything Bray does, I love, and then Randy enticing him to come chase. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the better segments of the show, and it'll get better as we go, I feel like. Okay, Mace with speaking of great segments, Retribution's back, brother. Mace with Retribution versus Ricochet, Ali on commentary. Mace looks pretty good here and there. Ricochet fends off T-Bar and Slapnuts.
Slapnuts. Yes. Where's Jeff Jarrett when you need him?
Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett should come back and be in the real leader of Retribution.
Yes. With the shirts. Then he could have that final match that we've all needed.
Yes.
Who really deserves the guitar?
Yeah. Well, he should wear like a baloney mask. Like a mask made like.
Mace puts him away after something or another.
The finisher was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like his little finisher was cool. I liked it.
Absolutely. And dude, just y'all quit. Just put Ricochet in this faction already, and then bring Cedric over and give me what I want. Just stop dancing around it.
They're not going to do it.
No, they're not. They're not going to do it. And they're going to tease Ricochet going into it until he winds up winning this rivalry. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to have spent 10 months with Retribution. Started with chainsaws and 35 people. And then Ali's going to be standing there alone.
Yeah, this is the way the world ends, not with a bang but a whimper.
Yes. Correct. Always. Bray's looking for Randy and runs into Riddle.
I want to see Matt Riddle in the Firefly Funhouse.
Yes, he wants in there, and he wants to use pronouns.
Yes.
In there. And then
I want that character.
Bray doesn't have time for that.
No.
And so he does autograph a carrot for Ramblin' Rabbit.
Yes.
I thought it was nice of him.
For Skippy. Ramblin' Rabbit. Yeah.
And now they make the announcement that Lana is out, and we have to have a surprise partner for Asuka, who we believe will be Charlotte Flair. And it's not that I don't love Charlotte Flair.
I do.
I feel like she's one of the best wrestlers in the world, regardless of whether she's a man or, I mean, not that there's a question. I feel like she is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and you don't have to put male or female titles on.
Yes.
To me, she's right there with however many there are. And she is great, all of that. Mm-hmm. You spent, like you said, months telling me a story, becoming invested in this girl. You even shot a documentary that said I needed to be invested in this woman. And Charlotte may have just called them one day and said, I'm ready to come back. When do you want me? And they said, oh, we'll just throw the storyline out.
Yeah, we're done with that.
Right. And
screw you for Karen.
I get bringing Charlotte out.
Dude, totally.
If your ratings are down. I get it.
Don't
She's one of your better
me.
performers.
Yes.
How about they go over, Lana and Asuka go over, and as Asuka's holding her 2 belts, then Charlotte comes out.
Yeah.
Are we really going to bring Charlotte out and have her be Asuka's tag team partner to be a face?
I bet you that's what they're planning.
What on earth? Why would she be a babyface?
Maybe they're going to go with she's not really a babyface. She only wants to get at Nia Jax.
Charlotte and Nia Jax is a hell of a match.
Yeah, it is.
I can also have that match without any of this.
No, don't need any of it.
Maybe they'll prove me wrong. Maybe Lana will come out with a neck brace on and her hips wrapped and wrestle.
Yeah, you could have Lana and Asuka put up a great match, have them lose, have Nia Jax about to put Lana through the table again or something like that, and then Charlotte's music hits, and she comes out there and jumps Nia Jax.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. Not what we did.
Or even if you want to take the belts off Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, which I think is dumb considering you haven't really given them a good feud with anybody.
And they're good. They're funny together.
Yeah, and they're monsters.
Mm-hmm. Shayna Baszler, speaking of which, versus Dana Brooke. Nia cheats as soon as Dana starts to do good. Then they attack the DQ, and we get the tease that it's going to be Mandy as the tag team partner, which kind of makes me think it won't be.
Yeah.
Because it's a blatant tease, and she was helping her own tag partner, so it makes sense kind of that she would help, but also...
Shayna Baszler needs help with Dana Brooke.
Correct. Although, if this match had happened the week before, it would have been a squash. Mm-hmm. Tonight, she needs help with Dana Brooke. Mm-hmm. Right, because nobody watches their show.
Yeah.
At least the writers don't. Okay, Huskus Pig and R-Truth have a heart-to-heart. And I'd rather have R-Truth doing this than the 24/7 stuff. Just walking around. Put him in the funhouse. Yeah. Completely confused.
Yes.
He tells Bray, isn't that your son? And he does share the name, Huskus. Husky Harris. I mean, I can see where R-Truth probably doesn't even realize that Bray is not Husky Harris.
No.
Because why would he?
No.
And beautiful family.
Beautiful family.
And the way he kind of whispers when he talks, it really had this sincerity feel to it. Oh, my God. And Bray continues to search the halls until he finds the wheelchair. The
walking chair. The wheelchair used to kill Paul Bear
is somewhere behind the rocking chair that is sitting in the dark with a light upon it. And, oh, my goodness. And so anyway, we get this. I loved it. He walks in there. He sits in it. Randy jumps him. Randy puts him down. He beats him to the point where he's got basically a metal casket style box that he can put him in.
Callback.
Yes, he puts him in it, and then he puts gas on it, and he lights it on fire, and
double callback.
It's all over. Yes, this is beautiful. We've told the story, and we've retold the story to the point, and then we show you what's new about this situation, because as he opens the top of the...
Or he doesn't open it. It explodes. No,
the Fiend pops out.
Yeah.
And the Fiend overwhelms Randy, puts the Fiend claw on him. Beautiful.
Yeah. It's a double callback, too. Not just to Randy Orton's feud with the Fiend, but to Randy Orton's feud with The Undertaker.
Who just left.
Retired,
yeah.
Yeah. Remember my favorite Undertaker comeback of all Undertaker comebacks? When who'd Randy beat? I can't remember who he beat. Was it Batista or somebody? He had the belt. Everybody's like his dad's in the ring. Everybody's in the ring with him, all the heels holding him up on their shoulders. And all of a sudden the druids come out and they have the coffin up on the stage. And then this was back when they could do special effects indoors and hadn't hurt people yet. Mm-hmm. The lightning bolt comes down, hits the coffin catches on fire. It's standing up, and the door explodes open, and the Undertaker walks out.
Dude.
Of the burning coffin.
I am so glad you remembered that. And by the way, you told the story beautifully, too.
And Randy Orton has the most awesome look of fear. He sells the terror.
Yeah.
So well.
Well, that is the one thing Randy has always been pretty good at, his facial expression.
Oh, God, yeah.
And like you said, that moment... And the fact that they would, the Undertaker could summon lightning was dope. You know what I mean? And
indoors.
Yeah, and it is beautiful. This is a neat way of continuing the Orton Bray feud, adding the Fiend to it, but then also kind of passing a torch through the fact that they all remember.
Yeah, the imagery here.
Through to this new character of the Fiend. He's now, the Fiend is the new Taker.
Yes.
He's the new, more than human fighting machine.
Bigger than belts.
Yes.
And I heard somebody, I heard, who was it? I heard somebody else use that because, you always say it and a lot of people always say, the Undertaker. Heard somebody else talk about the Fiend this week. That guy's bigger than belts. The belt doesn't matter. The character is bigger than that.
That's when the show is good.
Yeah. When
the belt is not the most important. You know what was, and he superhuman other than his athletic ability. But one of the things that made ECW is you had Rob Van Dam as the TV champ.
Yes, every week.
And he was the most important champion. It wasn't, what was that dude's name? Shane Douglas.
Shane Douglas, no.
He didn't matter.
No.
You know, he'd get in these feuds or whatever, but the key, and Heyman was the brainchild. I
watched Rob Van Dam. I didn't watch Shane Douglas. I turned into ECW for Rob Van Dam.
Sure, of course. And for the craziness.
Yeah.
But that was the
And
thing
Raven.
was, and you know, the beautiful thing about the Attitude Era, you put the belt on, you know, you hand the belt to Jericho, who now Jericho then isn't Jericho now. You know what I mean? That Jericho was who the blue hell are you a year earlier or 2 years earlier.
Yeah.
He's not approaching. They made him a superstar by putting a belt on.
Yes.
The belt at that point in time was being used to make Triple H, anointing him. Shawn doesn't matter anymore. Triple H has the belt. Mick Foley has the belt.
Yes.
The Rock and Stone Cold were what was important.
Yeah.
And whatever they were doing with Vince McMahon or with whomever. And that was the beauty of it, is you had 3 reasons to watch the show that weren't the title.
Yeah.
And that's what The Fiend gives you. And Taker, of course, was there at the time, too. And he was always in something with somebody.
They've gotten into the belt. They don't get that the belt is just a storytelling plot element. It's just a MacGuffin. You know, it's just, you know, Pulp Fiction. It's just the briefcase that they chase around. If that's one plot point in a whole movie, you've got to have other plot points to keep people interacted.
Yeah, Seinfeld wasn't always about Seinfeld.
No.
You know, that's what made it great.
Yes.
You know, or Cheers.
No.
You know, whatever great show you like, there's always sometimes you'll get frustrated. Like, I remember with Daredevil, I would get frustrated because there wasn't enough Daredevil for me in it. But still, what made it a great show is there's more going on.
Yeah.
Dude, those Marvel comic Netflix shows were the best thing for adults ever.
Yes.
For adults in that realm.
Exactly. That's the kind of adult content that we're talking about right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, then we get rid of going over MVP in the squash. We are furthering that plot line down the road. We get a ascending ceremony in which AJ will wrestle Drew for the belt above the ring, and we're going to have a ceremony in which we do that. AJ points out the same things we've been pointing out about Drew since he's been anointed champ. Drew says the same old crap he always says. AJ gets the beat down on him, and I did like the flying elbow. I did like that. I did like the imagery of AJ on top of the ladder at the end, because you know good and well he's not going over.
No. No. Not going to happen.
Let's move on to something I did enjoy, which was SmackDown. And
though I do have some gripes on that this week too.
Correct. This was sometimes when you get a pay-per-view coming up, they don't dial it in like they probably could. No. And we'll get through it. I'm sorry we're running long today, guys, but we're going to have to because we had stuff to say. KO opens with a promo on Roman, and then it's the similar stuff that he's been doing as well. Paul interrupts and takes us to another level, calls him a masochist, says that Roman is a sadist. Then he says, you're not a masochist, you're actually a martyr, and what Roman's going to do to you. All of that stuff. Kevin gets furious, wants Roman to come out. Everything happens on Roman's time, so when Kevin walks up the ramp to fight Roman waits till he gets back there and slips out the back and winds up out in the ring, which is funny to me. Roman is in the ring with the mic. You're telling the world I'm a bad guy. I'm not a bad guy. I'm the guy doing the things it takes to be the guy.
What about where's Scott Hall? Where's Scott Hall? He's channeling him.
Yeah, he is. I'll give you the chance I gave my own family to acknowledge me as your tribal chief and the head of your family's table. Yikes. Kevin comes out, gets jumped by Jay. We get the beat down. Oh, Kevin is so walking into fire and getting burned every week. And Roman comes down. They murk him for a while. the KO beatdown is bad enough that they're able to just walk away as he's crawling towards them. Roman and Jay are backstage, and Jay is so over the moon about how this went. He said if they didn't know, they know now. And he said he doesn't know. Mm-hmm. I've been with it. I know guys like this. He won't stop. You have to go ending. Mm-hmm. And that is the thread that runs through the show. Mm-hmm. I couldn't help but think of Dean Ambrose when he said, I've seen guys like this. Because that was kind of always Dean's character, and it still is in the other company. Yeah. And when he said that, it just, for whatever reason, it clicked with me. But Kevin is as good as John is at this character as well.
Oh, dude, yeah.
And Kevin is, if anybody's as good a talker as John, it's Kevin. Mm-hmm. And I like, you like the way we started.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to say I like John, but Kevin's a better talker to me.
Kevin's
there's not many talkers better than Kevin Owens to me.
Jon Moxley, to me, is my wrestler of the year because what Roman has done has only been a few months.
Yes.
And John, to me, had the best overall year.
Oh, yeah.
What Kenny and Roman are doing currently is pretty incredible. And if this were to continue for 8 more months, they'll be my one of the two will be my wrestler of the year next year. Not that they can. Mm-hmm. Kevin Owens is better in every way than Jon Moxley. Mm-hmm. It's just he's never healthy.
Yeah.
But he's a better wrestler.
Yeah.
He's John does tell good stories.
Oh, he does. I'm not.
But Steve Austin wasn't the greatest wrestler.
No.
He was great at telling stories, and he was great. And he protected his persona, which John does a great job of protecting his persona. With poor Kevin, he's so good at being a good guy and a bad guy, they keep flipping him back and forth. Mm-hmm. He had to eventually, and this time he has to recreate himself as, well, I'm just not happy with what I used to do, but I'm not that different than I've always been. Yeah. And he points out the different, like you said, he points out the different, a couple weeks ago, he points out the different shades of gray here, and he points out the silliness that is pro wrestling.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The way this thing is written, you're going to do this, I'm going to do this, so let's go ahead and move all these chairs out of the way and start fighting.
Yeah.
I like that he is kind of...
He attacks the trope.
I have to let you in on what's really going on because they've been flipping me back and forth all the time. Mm-hmm. And this is just who I am anyway.
Yeah.
And I love it. And I love this segment. And then, boy, we get a match you probably never thought you'd see. The Street Profits versus Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler.
This match was so formulistic.
They wrestle good.
But it was paint by numbers. It was beat down this guy, isolate, hot tag, boom, 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 finish, out the door. It was, everything they did was good, but it's like, why did they do it? It didn't advance a plot line. It didn't serve a purpose. It was so formulistic. The match itself, there was no...
How many people do I have to see Roode and Ziggler lose to?
Yeah. Well, how many times do I have to see the Street Profits involved, beat these people 4 or 5, have to beat the same tag team 4 or 5 times in a row? Why didn't a company with 80,000 wrestlers on its, have different tag teams for these people to wrestle?
And here's the thing. I get that you don't have anybody on that level right now. And that's not Street Profits' fault. That's not Roode and Ziggler's fault. But that is somebody's fault.
Yeah.
Because I watched an NXT segment where in 3 weeks they managed to build a tag team division to where I saw 4 teams in a fight, and I can't wait to see any pairing of that.
Any pairing of those.
Took them 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
To do that.
There might be. Let's see. And if you really count it, you got Lurch, you got Fandango, and you got Breezango, you got Undisputed Era, Grizzled Young Veterans. Frick, you got Everrise.
You just brought Imperium back.
Imperium?
Why did they just put Imperium on Raw or SmackDown?
Because Vince is going to think they're generic and has no idea why they're cool, and they'll be jobbers in 2 weeks. They would
walk in the door and immediately they already have cachet with wrestling fans. I get what you're saying, but cheaper creepers. Anyway, Carmella Champagne later thing.
This segment went on for 10 minutes.
I don't think we got there yet, though.
Okay. I'm just saying.
Adam Pearce is trying to talk Kevin Owens out of getting beat up again.
He doesn't do a good job.
No, and then Jay beats him up again with a chair. And Adam Pearce, as much as I like the guy, and I think he does a really good job, at some point he's got to figure out how these backstage segments work because this is too dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Owens, he's looking for a fight. He shouldn't be getting hit from behind.
Mm-mm.
At some point, he should have said, "Hey, Jay, if he was watching the show
Mm-hmm.
and Roman says, Jay, you got to beat up Kevin. The next move, if you're the guy, the GM, is to say, Jay, you got to go home."
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? You know what I really enjoyed it with Ziggler and Rude after that match was Little Nate going off on him.
See, that was more interesting than the match.
It was to me.
Where does that go?
Well, my point is this. One of the tropes I hate in wrestling almost more than any others is the intimidate the ref trope. You can't intimidate refs.
Yes.
Go watch a football game.
Yeah.
You get in a ref's face, they just send you to the house.
Right.
If you lay your hand on a ref, you go to the house.
Right.
You don't ever...
MLB.
Yeah, you're done.
Right.
And that should be...
I liked that more than I did the match.
I did.
I mean, I liked... The wrestlers did great match.
Again, that wasn't the problem. The problem was the match was paint by numbers.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, hot tag. 1, 2, 3, 4, pin.
I do find it interesting wherever that goes, if they build on it. I don't have confidence they will.
No.
And I was totally kidding about Jay, and I like the fact that he beat him down right there. Kayla interviews Bianca Belair. She does great here. But she's just continuing her personality. This next segment, Riot Squad promo, I don't even know what on earth that was. That is not the characters they gave us for the Riot Squad for years. And then they put them back together differently. And then Liv Morgan's acting. What is that?
I have no clue.
They literally gave me a documentary that showed me Liv Morgan wasn't what they just showed me.
Yeah.
Why?
Because they lack imagination, creativity, or...
She thinks Wonder Woman's real?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man.
And then, again, how many tag teams do we have? One? We have one tag team on SmackDown?
Women's division?
Yeah.
Billie Kay gets Tamina to help her. Tamina does good. Billie Kay jumps in. This is a match with Liv and Ruby.
How long? I want to know how long do you think they're going to keep this thing that was funny 1 week, maybe funny 2 weeks? How long do you think they're going to beat this into the ground?
Oh, dude, till
Rumble?
Till Billie Kay winds up being a ring announcer or something.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which I love Billie Kay. And I like Tamina.
Yeah.
And I like Liv. And I like Ruby. I just don't... this was literally a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
For no reason. They could have told Billie Kay to go out there and make people laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And spent the same 3 minutes that they did in all this. And I would have got the same thing.
True.
And I would have respected Riot Squad more when it was over because I didn't see them rather than see them act like people that they just haven't been. Even Ruby rubbing her head all shucks. During the promo thing when Liv said that. Dude, I loved them. Mm-hmm. And I loved it when they came out and they were fighting people all the time. And Ruby Riott is a fighter.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Tough.
And Liv has spent years becoming a legitimate wrestler.
And is now a legitimate wrestler.
Yes. What are we doing?
Just ridiculous.
Champagne setup. Silhouette. Oh, by the way...
Ugh.
I missed my calling on my call back to the Rod Stewart thing. The best silhouette thing is Prince at the beginning of the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Halftime show.
Yes.
Kills it. Sidebar. Guy says to Prince, I'm sorry about the fact that it's raining cats and dogs out there. Is there anything I can do for you before you go out there? And Prince looks at him and says, can you make it rain harder? Walks out there and kills it.
Kills it.
Killed it. Greatest halftime performance.
Of all time.
Yeah. It's crazy. Oh, and Dave Grohl was like, I got a phone call one day, and he said, hey, do you mind if I cover one of your songs at the Super Bowl? Dave Grohl was like, no.
No. See, you're Prince.
Yeah, he killed that, too.
Dude.
Someone getting the best of you? Come on. That's so good. Okay. Now, I did like I thought that she did a great job of talking here, Carmella. You didn't.
I thought that this segment went on for 10 minutes.
Yes.
10 minutes.
We could have got into it a little quicker, for sure. But she did. I really thought she did a good job of underlying who Sasha Banks is and why Sasha's need to be the best and be the blueprint is going to be her ultimate downfall because that creates insecurities inside of Sasha. We could have done that without the front and the back end. Well, you didn't have to have the silhouette thing we're talking about. Didn't have to be there. We could have started with him in the ring.
Yeah.
We could have had Sasha jump in. If you started in the ring and you cut out the 4 or 5 times that she just laughed.
Maniacally.
Laughed.
For a long time.
Stop, drank one. Okay, then you could have had, then it would have been perfect, right? It wasn't perfect because of that. But then Sasha tries to jump. Well, Sasha's music hits. She runs down. Of course, she sends her minion down the ramp. Of course, Sasha's smart enough to be on the other side.
Not so smart.
No, because she does. She slaps the dude once he finally gets down there when she's having her way with Mella, and then she catches another champagne bottle to the kidney, which I hope she never grabs the wrong champagne bottle.
Woo, buddy.
Then we're looking at killing somebody. But anyway, it's over. And then this next segment, KO. Let me just say, KO getting medical attention. Jay jumps him again. I don't know why they had that table set up right beside where they get medical attention, but it works out because KO goes through it. Perfectly done there. Otis versus Shinsuke. Do you have thoughts, maybe? Otis goes over clean, chooses not to do the worm, and I'm thinking
that the part about that I liked was he didn't do the worm.
You know what was great?
What?
Chooses not to do the worm, gets the win, and we could be saying Otis has now turned the corner. He's a serious guy. Gable is trying to make him serious. Instead, I wrote in my notes, well, if Shinsuke had to take that bullet, at least Otis won't be doing the caterpillar. He should be more than that. He elects not to do the caterpillar. Shinsuke gives him a little fight back. He suplexes him. Vader bombs him. What a powerful ending. And then Gable says, I told you not to do the caterpillar, so you should have done it. So that entire match was for nothing.
Yes.
Shinsuke took that bullet.
For nothing.
One of the Hall of Fame performers on every continent he's ever been in. He took that bullet.
For nothing.
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 No reason.
No reason.
No reason at all.
Explain to me how this isn't Shorty G Mark II.
I can't with that. Now we get to the Sammy Awards, which just was funny and it was good. And
Sami Zayn makes Big E put them in a skit. It doesn't matter that it's junk. It's still going to be funny. It's still going to be entertaining.
Absolutely. He wins 2 awards. Big E slides in and wins another one, and we're going to get something great at the payoff.
That was funny.
It was wonderful, yeah. Okay, Bayley and Kayla. Bayley, I was a cross-country star in college, and I was the captain of my high school basketball team. I don't brag about that like that other girl does, all her accomplishments at Tennessee or wherever. Bianca heads to the ring versus Bayley, and I thought this was a fantastic match.
I did too.
And we get the seasoned veteran takes the phenomenal young athlete into the deep waters, gets the slick rake of the eyes and the win, the rose plant finish. I loved it.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was the right ending for the first match. I thought...
We're building a star.
We're building a star. She doesn't need to beat Bayley the first time out. She needs to learn.
I get to be invested in her journey.
Yes.
She has to struggle at some point, right, for me to care.
Yeah.
You know? It's funny, too. All the things in the world people can complain about this week. People were complaining about that. I'm like, God. Your favorite doesn't have to win every match.
No. You want to build it up. She didn't lose because she was beaten. She lost because she was cheated on by the wily, veteran.
And this right here keeps you from being in a position which people always complain about. Why would you put The Fiend in a title match with Seth? Why did you book yourself into a position where a guy that can't lose is in a match he has to lose? Right? And this keeps you from that.
Yes.
Because the veteran cheated to win. It was perfect.
Yeah.
The match was perfect.
Yes.
Everything about those 9 to 10 minutes
of the show were perfect.
Perfect. Thank you, as a matter of fact. Roman to the ring. Kind of a reply thing from the earlier parts of the show, he does mention that, being in my shadow is a huge upgrade for you. For anyone, it's a pay grade upgrade. Your status in the wrestling world is upgraded. I'm doing you a favor here. Take your whooping, go home politely. Mm-hmm. Of course, Kevin struggles out to
his beating.
Yes, again, and they wreck him this time. I loved the optics. I know he's totally protected because you break 2 tables, so you have 4 pieces of table that you put his body through to cover him up with.
Yes, and
so that way Jay can just freely sling chairs into the ring.
Yeah,
like he doesn't care where they land, because he doesn't, because it's not going to hit Kevin. It's going to land on the table that's on top of him. Roman throwing slamming the ladders on top of the tables. Mm-hmm. It looks like it would hurt. There's no way it does.
Because the tables are safe.
The only thing you can see, and when he's walking away, all you can see is his ankle hanging out of the bottom of the pile of stuff.
Like he's the Wicked Witch of the West.
It's thank you. It's perfect. Mm-hmm. And then you have
Wicked Witch of the East. I messed that up.
That's fine. And then you have Kevin struggle to his feet as they're walking away, as they get to the back.
Stone Coldy kind of moment.
Yes, but sets the chair down and says, I'll die trying to win that title.
Uh-huh.
You're not going to put me away. Matter of fact, I don't think he said, you'll have to kill me. Mm-hmm. I think he said, I'll die trying, which is a totally different.
Yeah.
The difference between you'll have to kill me, I'm willing to receive that much punishment. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do everything I can to put punishment on you, even if that kills me, is a completely different statement.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I love that part too. You liked it?
I did.
Okay, so what are we getting at this pay-per-view? What are the matches?
We got the Firefly Inferno match, which I have no idea what that's going to be.
Dude, I'm really looking forward to some form of cinematic thing.
I don't know if it is, but it could be really cool if it is. I would rather it be that than an actual Inferno match where they try to set each other on fire.
Those are hard to like. I get it. With Kane, you kind of could get away with it
because he had that full body costume.
Right. You're not going to, unless Bray were to wrestle in the jacket. Mm-hmm. Which, if he does, of course, we know who gets lit on fire.
Yeah, who gets lit on fire.
Right.
But that's so.
And you can't go to the ropes at all because they're fire.
Yeah. My thought is that this match actually gives them a way of letting Randy win without Randy beating the Fiend. Because the win is just setting the opponent on fire. The win is not beating the opponent.
Exactly. And that was the problem with the Hell in a Cell match that I referred to earlier, right? Mm-hmm. Is they couldn't really figure out a way for
with the match.
We had figured it out on our show, but they couldn't figure out a way for him to lose. It's the optics of him being on fire and then chasing Randy on fire.
Yeah,
is going to be way better than if he wins.
Yeah,
and if Randy doesn't come out with clothes on, we know he can't get lit on fire.
No, you can't do.
Or he's getting a hell of a bonus.
Hell of a paycheck.
Yeah. Okay. Bray versus AJ.
I mean, you mean Drew versus AJ?
Yes, Drew versus AJ. Drew, no problem. Roman.
Come on.
Kevin. Yeah, he has to win. I expect Kevin to jump off of something.
Yes, I do.
And really injure himself.
Yes.
This time, Roman won't be laying there waiting on him like Seth was.
No.
There won't be any cushion for him to land on.
Carmella, Sasha. Sasha.
Charlotte, Asuka go over? If it's Charlotte, they go over, right?
Yes, if it's Charlotte, they go over.
If it's Mandy, they probably don't.
Yes, that would be my guess.
Right. If it's Mandy.
Jeez.
I can't believe I just had to say that.
You had to say it out loud.
Oh, the match of the night. Sami Zayn, Big E.
Big E. I'm going to go with the Big E. I'm going to go with this is Big E's moment.
It's his time.
Did you see the
And Sami is the kind of performer that can do things below the belt that matter.
Yeah. Did you see the Paul Heyman talking smack thing where he was talking to Big E and he gave him like you're going to be remembered this moment right here. When people look back on your career, they will look back on it as, this is the moment when it really started rolling, and they'll look back on the New Day as a footnote in the greatness that is Big E.
Woof.
And he was like, I am not disparaging Kofi Kingston. I'm not disparaging Xavier Woods. I'm putting it in context for you, kind of, is like what he said. He said, and I'll even further. He's like, when you watch Roman Reigns now in the ring, how long has it been since anybody mentioned the Shield?
Right. Especially now. Especially since his return.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing, too. Or Seth's been like that for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, now, I did watch Talking Smack this week, and Paul is wonderful on that show.
Dude, he's so good.
Sami Zayn came on and interrupted the Street Profits talking. And actually, Paul made the Street Profits seem way cooler than he just put over Paul can completely gloss over the fact that they may have won a championship in a bowling alley, right?
Yeah.
Without a fight.
Yeah.
Paul glossed over the fact that they just handed each other titles and just turned it into, the Street Profits are the greatest things to sliced bread, which, don't get me wrong, they are when you ring the bell. And they're fun. I mean, it's just, for whatever reason, some of what they've had them do isn't great, but they are great.
Yes.
And then Sammy interrupts him and brings his 2 awards. And Booker T and Sammy, the dynamic between Booker T, Sammy, and Paul was phenomenal.
I'm going to have to watch that.
And then Bayley comes out. And Paul puts his hands on the table and puts his head on his hands like he's an elementary school child. And just gazes at her while she talks. And somebody says, what are you doing? And he says, I'm looking at the most talented female performer in the world right now. And the woman who should be the champion. I'm looking at a person in their prime being perfect. And it was so cool. And Bayley shot Booker T a bird.
Yes.
Slick like too. Booker T said, I've always said that I didn't think that you were great at anything, but you're good at everything. And she said, I like that. And then she was holding her mic with her pointer finger. And then she reached up to push her hair out of her face with her birdie finger while the other ones were still whatever. She goes, I like that. And then did that right there for just a second.
Yeah.
And you could tell it was an accident. You know what I mean? But then that was a lead up to Booker saying how great she is.
Yeah. Since
things have changed. Right? So I thought that was cool. And then, oh my God. Paul said that he wished Bayley, he said, I'm looking at the person who should be my co-host.
Oh,
and Kayla was all mad. It was great.
Oh,
okay, so it was a good week. We enjoyed it. I'm sorry if we talked too long. I'm sorry if we beat up the product. I have defended this stuff for quite a while, and I may have been a bit hurt at what has happened this week. And I apologize, and I hope that we remedy that on Sunday night with a pay-per-view. Something about people going through chairs and going through tables and jumping off ladders that always makes things better.
Yeah, it's going to make somebody feel better. Not us. No. I mean, us mostly, but not them.
No, they're going to hurt. For Go Home Eat, for Justin, this has been a copyright 2020 Go Home Eat production from EKP. Go home.